Good morning, everyone, and welcome to iGate TV, and welcome to the newspaper headlines. Today is Tuesday, and every in the country, of course, and beyond. We know that the U.S. election, of course, is also gathering momentum, and a lot of twists and turns are happening in that part of the country. Of course, in Nigeria, many things are happening, and are still happening, or have happened and are still happening. Of course, the major thing that most people are saying is they're grappling with hunger, grappling with how to be stabilized in this economy. Many people are saying this economy is biting very hard. Some will say, well, it's better than it was. I don't know. Perhaps as we go on, we can share the ideas with those who are with me in the studio. I have joining me to look at the papers today. We'll start with my left, Emmanuel Charia, and my right, Nathaniel Nogu. Gentlemen, you're welcome to this program.
Thank you very much, Mutsav. Good to be here as always.
Mutsav, thank you so much. I'm sure that we'll talk about the economy more and more as we go along.
Yes, but before we talk about it, how are you feeling it?
Well, a young man the other day was referring to, he said, Bros, how are you faring in this agbadonomy? And I told him that in the words of a famous comedian of Benue origin, things are hard, but we're trying. I have translated and paraphrased what he said into language. What's up?
Nath, you look very nourished.
He looks succulent.
Yes.
So anyway, it's all about packaging. The economy is depressing, but you don't want to look like the depressed economy, so that he's not telling on you. It's just about
after all, it's packaging and separate plantain chips from Quickery.
Absolutely.
But no, I think you are rather living in your own world of economy. Ours is quite different from yours. Your packaging is top notch.
Anyway, if you say so.
We need to probe him.
Indeed, we need to probe him. But let's begin the newspaper, of course. We will begin with iGate newspaper, and that is always our paper to begin with. And it carries a banner story here. Benue Assembly member tackles earlier over insecurity as renewed attacks claim 13 in Benue communities. And you get to also look at above the nameplate of the paper. It says, again, herdsmen kill 5 in Agatu. And again, abducted Ben Poli, acting rector, released. That's a cheering one there. MDA's LGC's Sean Benue Commission of Inquiry and stop demarketing Peter Obi, Labour Party tells NSC. That's another one. Then you come down, you have Nigeria loses $9 billion yearly to illegal mining. That's coming from reps. And FG distributes 740 trucks of rice to states. Gunmen kill Benue IDP, injure others. That's the bottom of iGate newspaper. Let's look at this. First, the banner story, the banner headline. Benue Assembly member tackles earlier over insecurity in the state. Nathaniel, of course, there are a lot of stories coming that tomorrow you hear that they've attacked this part of the state and all of that. But the Benue State Assembly member rather, is coming up with this particular story. A member representing a Gatu state constituency, House of Assembly. That's Godwin Edo. Is challenging the government, saying, step up, sit up. Things are not right.
Yes, I think the lawmaker is right because he is the representative of the people. And in Benue here, Agatu is one of the worst hit local government over these issues of insecurity, especially the Okokolo axis and other part of the Agatu local government. They have come under incessant armed herdsmen invasion. It's purely a case of invasion attacking communities. But actually they picture the Benue state government has always painted before the people is that there is relative peace, and also insisting that equally in Agatu, attacks seem not to be happening. But as a representative of the people, the state lawmaker Godwin Edo is actually taking it on with the governor that, look, even if you say there's a relative peace in the state, in my own constituency of Agatu, where I represent the people are still crying. Communities are being sacked. The last time it's been reported that up to 50 communities in Agatu, if it is true, up to 50 villages in that particular local government have been under sustained attacks. People are sacked. They're just scampering and taking shelter in some secondary schools and scattered IDPs camps around. So really the government needs to be more proactive to decisively address the issue of banditry. But in Agatu, what the people there have always told Nigerians, and what security agencies have also reported, that is a case of invasion by armed herdsmen, whom the last time we were told crossed over from a bordering community in Kogi into Benue. You remember, Agatu is one of the riverine local governments in the state as well. So the point of entry for these armed herders attacks could come from Kogi. They could come through the water from Nasarawa axis and all these places. So the government needs to be working in harmony with the state legislature to find lasting solutions to this case, especially as it concerns the Agatu axis, where the lawmaker there, Godwin Edo, is tackling the governor of the state of his people.
Chaya, look at this. From what the assembly member has said, it means there is a big disconnect from the state government and the people, because the lawmaker is giving a true situation of what is happening in that place, whereas the state government will bring up that narrative that there is peace. But he's saying here in this paper that the state government and his people are not telling the truth.
Well, Mutav, for us to talk about the attacks on Agatu and to do justice to the people of the Agatu community and Nigerians at large, we need to once again take a few steps back, look into the past. The immediate past governor of Benue State, His Excellency, Dr. Samuel Otom, was one who was raising his voice, the voice of one crying in the wilderness. Prepare ye the way, stop insecurity, do your best. But some persons felt he was going over the top with the issue. As we speak, insecurity is no longer just something that Benue is suffering hard from. Whether it's herdsmen attack, whether it's banditry, whether it's terrorism, it has become a national emergency. Every geopolitical zone in the country is feeling the bite. Now, there is a nexus between insecurity and the high cost of food. It is not necessarily the removal of fuel subsidy that has made food items to become so expensive. The farming communities of Benue, of Niger, of Kogi, of Taraba, of Nasarawa are ravaged. A huge expanse of farmland has been left unfarmed, if there is a word like that, uncultivated in this present farming season. Only God knows, Ben, what the prices of food items will be like. It's famed for. The same thing with Zakibiam, the Sankara axis. Now, yam is in Benue very expensive. A friend the other day was asking from Lagos, yams are very, very expensive in Lagos. Please, can you help me get some in Benue? I was like, my brother, me in Benue, I can tell you the last time I ate yam that is affordable. I sent him videos of what happened in Sankara, and he just said, brother, forget about it. I know that it will not be economically wise to even buy it, considering transport and so many other things. Now, looking at the member and what he has said, I know that the issue of insecurity, sometimes people in leadership are somewhat careful because they may not want to give the real details, the complete picture of what is happening. The fear is that it may motivate people on the other side. That is one school of thought. On the other hand, as the leader of the entire state, we need not just the governor, but those who work around him to be able to tell the complete truth of what is going on, so that the State Executive Council will take the decisions that will promote the restoration of true peace and justice to the communities grossly affected. Telling the truth should not be something that would let us not make it look like we're dancing on shifting surfaces. Let us be able to tell the truth, not exaggerate, and don't be afraid of things like revenge attacks. It is disheartening when you consider the fact that people can no longer go to their ancestral homes. You see a lot of people running, and that is why there's pressure on the capital city. A lot of people running into Makurdi who have no business staying in Makurdi, and who, if there is peace, will never want to even come and stay in the capital, Makurdi. So I believe this government should make it a priority. Insecurity should be a priority for this and every other government in the Federation, Nigeria.
Okay, and yesterday, from a press release from the government, the Benue State government, Governor Olia appointed BAM1 DG Internal Security. I think we're talking about the internal security.
Yes.
And this is
that's step one.
That's a very good step, commendable from the state government. Now we have the governor, the true picture of what it is. And this is good. The credential of the person, the appointee, it looks very promising, and we hope that the governor, the man who is taking up that position, will do justice to that. Otherwise, it doesn't tell well that the governor is saying this, and the House of Representatives, same states, singing
are at loggerheads.
They're singing different tunes of one hymn.
Discordant tunes.
It's okay. So, but let's look at the bottom of that paper. You have FG distributes 740 trucks of rice to states. And that is, I think this is the most frequently consumed food. FG has distributed 740. Divide this by 36, and see how many trucks Benue should be having. Is that sufficient?
My worry is FG's palliative measures of cushioning hardship to me really not sustainable, because, like you rightly pointed, 740 trucks to states and the FCT. Maybe if you divide the state roughly, you should be getting about 20 trucks. But looking at the population of Benue people alone, and given that rice is a staple food, to what extent, how many modus we poorest of the poor, as we often keep hearing in Nigeria, with the rice get to them?
That's the sharing formula.
What would be the sharing formula? Sometimes it is alleged that when it gets to the states, it ends in the hands of politicians who determine who and who should get what and what. But for me, on a general note, the federal government shouldn't be distressed in terms of the food security situation of this country. Shouldn't be distressed to the point of federal government just bringing rice to on a regular basis, or once in a while bring rice and just give to citizens as if you are feeding a chicken with some form of guinea corn. That is just a drop in the ocean, because the hardship is far beyond just giving rice to states and thinking you have cushioned the food security situation. But it speaks to the dire food insecurity this country is facing. And as we stated earlier, the component of security really needs to be addressed, because as it is, people are no longer in farming communities.
Yes.
Areas where the mass food producing zones for the country have been deserted because of insecurity. In Benue here, as it is famed as a food basket of the nation, our sustainability in terms of agriculture is very questionable at the moment. Why? Because of the insecurity. So if the federal government will make policies that we make our communities safer for people to actually cultivate the land, there may not be any need for the government to be giving trucks of rice. By the way, the trucks of, if you give rice, for instance, just rice, as people share, the inflation is still rising. To what extent we want to afford even the condiments to cook the rice?
That is another question.
Or the oil you need, the onions and all the ingredients you need. So the federal government
should, that you already have the condiments.
So the federal government should go beyond just this pittance, these immediate palliative measures of bringing rice that alone will not solve the hardship people are facing.
Is this logically correct that you keep sending rice? That means all these states have become IDP camps.
Well, Gustav, let's go the mathematical route. You have 740 trucks, right? On average, a normal truck should convey 600 bags of rice. That's 30 tons, 50 kg bags of rice. But if you multiply that, you get 200. You multiply that and then divide it by the estimated population of Nigeria. When you do some small maths, you see that if the rice is to be shared to every Nigerian, you will get 0.1 grams of 1 kilogram, that's 100 grams of rice, which you can boil and eat at once.
How many models?
That's just a mudu divided into 10. Something you can finish in one spot and not be satisfied. And Nongo will get 100 grams of rice. So, buttressing his
but
point.
Maybe he will forfeit his own.
Because it may be insignificant for him to keep up his packaging. Well, so it boils down to just 100 grams of rice per every Nigerian. That is infinitesimal, and it does not speak well. I will repeat that the government needs to take the question of insecurity, especially the one affecting farmers, as a top priority. As a top priority. Whatever ministries you need to create, agencies you need to create, whatever policies you need to make, this is one area where if you declare a state of emergency, the results will be seen immediately. And, the government did something interesting the other week by removing import tariff on food items. Couple that with an aggressive and decided approach against insecurity affecting our farming communities in the short term, and it will ameliorate the situation.
I think one thing again that, as I said before you made your comment, I was asking. This is the same way government sent food items to IDPs.
And the IDPs still complain.
So states are becoming IDPs more or less.
Well,
and the best way to go out of it is I'm thinking that states should begin to own a farm. Each state should own a large farm. There's a particular portion of land that belongs to the state government. I think along Nasarawa Road, a big part of the land should be cultivated by states and to produce either rice or whatever, so that it can help. If you produce more rice in those kind of farms, they can be better off than perhaps you can also even send more to other states.
There are a lot of simple things
to be done
that can be done. That sometimes when you sit down in your quiet space and you meditate, you wonder, what is the problem? Why aren't we doing some of these things that are... Okay, you are talking about that farmland along Makurdi Lafia Road. There is an NYSC farm as well. I have been plying that road for over 35 years, as in almost every 3-4 months. I have never seen a tractor, a human being doing anything on that land. Now you see government seizes hundreds and thousands of hectares as land they want to use to farm. It is dormant. And the local community within that environment dare not encroach. That is another problem. So if we are suggesting that government should go into commercial farming, they shouldn't just go and, cut out a section of land and leave it lying fallow. Really utilize.
Yeah, it will make sense, because if they are scared of maybe people encroaching it, they mount a security post there permanently, and then it will definitely yield good result. Let's go to the Guardian newspaper, which is our next paper. The Guardian newspaper says the banner story here: over 30,000 jobs lost to closure of manufacturing firms in 4 years. Over 30,000 jobs lost to closure of manufacturing firms in 4 years. FG Dangote NNPC meets, explore solutions to refinery crude crisis. And planned protests, NLC, NANS, others insist government must address hunger and hardship. GDP ranking, it's been 9 years of retrogression. Obi laments. And the big picture there, the cover picture there, his high chief government of Alliance Tompolo. It's saying thank you, sir, saying thank you to the president. While others are lamenting, others are saying thank you. But the worrying story here is of the 30,000 jobs that already closed from manufacturing firms in 4 years. It is not just about the closure or the 30,000 jobs lost. It is about the industry, the manufacturing industry that have been closed. What does that tell to the economy?
Well, investors make a decision after years sometimes of back and forth. Sometimes it takes a while to percolate and come to a conclusion that, okay, we are coming into a particular country. It also takes them a while to decide to leave. And when they leave, returning is a problem. Now, when industries leave, filling that gap is a problem. It is easy to say, oh, we have capacity to manufacture drugs locally. If we utilize the capacity, we will not need the foreign drugs. What about the licenses to manufacture specific brands that, one, the users in our society are used to? The other day, a friend told me that he walked into a pharmacy. I was asking for a particular brand of drug, and they're like, the company has left. If you see anyone, it's the ones that have been brought through the border illegally, or they may be fake variants. Now, this person said, psychologically, whenever he takes any other brand for that over-the-counter drug, and it is not that very brand, he does not feel relief. So you see, there are thousands of people in that box. I'm just using the drug industry as an example. So when these companies leave, it's not just the economic value, the social value, the parts they played. I mean, these are 30,000 high-paying, highly skilled jobs that have left. Majority of the people that are unemployed as a result of this company leaving will also begin to jackpot. Some, Benjamin, I rather refer to you to your son and Ngutau. Some, their families are not here. So one leg has jackpot. The other leg is just staying here waiting for the opportunity to jackpot. I think the government shouldn't take for granted the fact that these companies are zooming out. Something should be done to plug the drain. Something should be done, such as the exchange rate needs to be managed better. And then if it means giving tax relief, some form of attraction, some form of incentive to keep them behind.
No, you look at these 30,000 jobs that are gone, manufacturing firms. I'll ask you on the different one, but just imagine that we have in Benue here, we have what they call the mechanic village along Api Road. And then you say the mechanic village should be shut down. No matter how insignificant that may be, but that will cause a big crisis in the state.
Yes, because the mechanic village may only have about 1,000 mechanics and spare parts dealers, but almost all the mechanics, apart from the apprentices, let's say 200 or gas, they have families, they have dependents, they have people they are paying bills, they have landlords that depend on them to pay the house rent for the landlord to also earn. They have a lot of things. I wanted to go the route of humor, but since this is a very serious program, I will pause at that point. However, you may look at the people in the mechanic village as just 1,000, but they have impact on maybe 10 to 15,000 other persons. Besides that, the service they provide. You know, you go to the mechanic village, it makes life simple. You will go there, you see someone to fix your AC, see someone to fix your gearbox, see someone to do service for you, see someone that can fix your tires, you can get spare parts there. If you close down that market, you are making it difficult for people to get services easily. The same thing with these industries, as they are leaving. Now, one painful thing is some of them are leaving to Cameroon, some to Benin, some to Ghana. some to Senegal, other African countries,
Just our neighbor.
manufacturing and bringing it back. We now pay, the importers will now pay tariff, and the same goods you are getting in Nigeria, you are buying at a more expensive rate.
Planned protests. NLC lands others insist.
Why did you turn to us now and almost sound like a preacher? Planned protest.
Is this protest necessary? But of course, many said it is necessary. But you think dialogue, it's not the way out?
Well, you see, I keep telling our people that the patience of Nigerians is waning away. The truth is, there is hunger in the land. There is hardship in the land. The government have asked for patience over and over. People have tolerated hardship. They have tolerated hunger. They have tolerated biting inflation, food inflation, the near above the rooftop prices of petrol, and virtually every product in the market. People have had to cope with all of this. But my worry is our leaders, when we protest in Nigeria, do they actually listen to the concerns of people who are protesting? Mutsavio and I are aware that recently the people of Kenya took to the streets, had anti-government protests, and President William Ruto of Kenya actually rescinded the decision of government to introduce a new finance bill which made Kenyans took to the street for protest. I said to myself, this is a government that is responsive to the yearnings and aspirations of the people. The people said no to a particular policy, took to the street protesting, and he said, yes, we have listened to Kenyans, we will do what you please. But back here in Nigeria, even when we protest, do our leaders care? So for me, I should think there may not be any need for protest at this moment. Why? Because even if you protest from now till the end of the world, the government of Nigeria appears to me as a government that is never willing to respond in line with what the people are protesting for. But as it is, get the right policies in place that will address the hunger that people are facing, the hardship Nigerians are experiencing. Until these are done away with, the calls for protest will keep coming and coming. The episode of protest, the NSAS experience that we had in the last administration is still fresh on the minds of Nigerians. It was a peaceful protest, but you and I are aware of how it ended until today. Nobody has been brought to book over that particular protest. So for me, there may be no need going to the street so as not to further endanger ourselves in the hands of a government that appears to be non-responsive to what Nigerians are asking for.
Okay.
It's too simple to ask of your government to just cater for your welfare, not directly taking care of you. A standard of living, reduce the hardship, policies that will bring down the high cost of living. That is all Nigerians are asking for. But I don't think we should go the way of protest. The last time it happened in this country, the experience was not good. So for me, Gutav, protest at this moment should not be the way to go.
Let's go to the Punch newspaper, and time is fast running. Marketers project 700 T-Pain subsidy. Reps probe crude shortage. And another writer there says, Dangote eyes foreign markets. Fuel crisis is not leaving the newspaper any soon. It looks so. Above the nameplate, you have windfall tax. FG insists on sanctions for defaulting bank chiefs. An organized private sector opposes fresh interest rate hike. And just some other headlines there you can pick. Nigeria records 1 billion international transfer inflows in 3 months. And hunger protests, of course. NLC warns against clampdown. But anyway, the story here, it's about the fuel crisis. Marketers project 700 billion monthly subsidy. The story of subsidy remover. Some say the famous statement by President Bola Tinubu on his inauguration. Many will recall. If there is anything that many people cannot remember from his speech, one statement: fuel subsidy is gone. But there are other stories coming up that Nigeria, the federal government, is still paying subsidy. What a contradiction.
If you look at the riders, Gustav, a lot of funny things. A lot of funny things. It's not funny as in laugh out loud funny, but it's murky. It's one begins to wonder once again what's really going on. We removed subsidy, didn't we? That is why we're paying an arm and a leg for a liter of fuel. And all of a sudden, you're hearing figures like 700 billion naira for subsidy per month. Which is which? For me, my concern is we were all waiting for a particular refinery to come on stream. And suddenly when the refinery is ready to refine crude to PMS, that is what everybody relies on. Even the woman selling boiled groundnuts will tell you that fuel is expensive. All of a sudden, crude is not available to be supplied to the refinery. It's a funny situation. When our refineries were down, crude was available. And we were told that once our refineries are up and running, things will get better. And then an individual builds a refinery, spends $25 billion, and suddenly we don't have crude to give him. And it will take the president to meet with the NNPC and the owner of this private refinery to resolve matters. Why are certain parastatals behaving as if they are above the law? Why do I feel like the situations that we encounter in our country are a conspiracy from maybe a cabal within this country or outside this country? Because it's no longer making sense. It's no longer, the facts and the figures are not aligning. 700 billion naira to pay for fuel subsidy after we are paying what we are paying for fuel. So if there was no subsidy, we would be buying fuel at 5,000 naira per liter.
That's a big question to ask. And even the fuel, how much are we buying now, and how much is
my question to you, Ngutav and Nongo, was it or was it not removed? In the words of Shakespeare, to be or not to be?
I don't have the question, so since it's coming from me, but I would categorically tell you here that I'm believing the president. He told us that
it has been removed.
Subsidy is gone.
Subsidy is okay. Gone and removed. Which one is? Maybe semantics now.
Well, subsidy of its own volition, has decided to leave us.
So maybe, yeah, in English it might be gone or removed. It could be gone. Can something be actually be removed and not gone?
Or can something go and not be removed?
That is what we should be questioning. Well, the good thing is, the House of Representatives has weighed in. They said they are probing a shortage of crude oil and all of that. So from their probe, we should get to know if truly the federal government is still paying subsidy for fuel, even as the president did pronounce that it is gone. Coming from the marketers, it is too hard not to believe them, because it is the marketers that are saying...
They are critical stakeholders.
Yes. It is the marketers who are saying the federal government is still paying. And the federal government's silence, to me, appears
it's not golden.
They are complicit. So one would expect that the crisis in the petroleum sector should be addressed once and for all. The coming into the sector by the Dangote refinery was so celebrated, but it's quite disappointing that now even the Dangote story seems not to be a strict one. We're hearing that he even wants the refinery to be bought over and stuff like that. So the deregulation of the petroleum sector should not continue to add to our economic woes that we have been facing over time.
His desire to sell the refinery is based on the stupendous... He is discouraged. I mean, for someone who is a titan of local investment like Dangote to openly come out to the press at his level and say, look, I am frustrated, then all of us in Nigeria will have the right to be frustrated, but may we not be frustrated. May we not be. So
I like the prayer the prayer mood of Nigerians.
May we not be.
But if we keep praying and we don't work, I don't know why this it's happening this way, but it's quite discouraging that what should help. We're talking about 30,000 jobs lost. Dangote is bringing up a refinery.
Let me ask this quick question, Ngutsawa. I don't mean to butt into, but you know, diesel was around 1,007, 1.8. When he came on board, he fell below 1,000 naira. I think it's now around 1,002. So 500 naira difference with the coming of Dang drop. If the cost of fuel is reduced by 30%, if that refinery starts working, I didn't want to mention his name, but since it has been mentioned, let's just jump on it. He didn't pay our marketing department for the adverts. But if we're buying fuel at around 750 and it drops to 500, that alone, what it will do to the psyche of the Nigerian economy is left to be desired.
Okay, let's go on.
Left to be imagined, I meant to say.
Let's go on. There is this this day newspaper carries a particular story that we must talk about, a death sentence, and this is referring to diabetes. Diabetes said to be a death sentence. The elderly crying, asking the president to pay for treatment with funds from higher surgery drinks tax, sugary drinks. So I think that is what I can get from there. A death sentence. Diabetes took my eye. Insulin prices could take my life. The price of insulin, it's one thing. So it's something I will need to look at. How is diabetes becoming a death sentence? They are not infrastructures, or they are not medical interventions to arrest this situation.
Yeah, yesterday the Diabetes Association of Nigeria did commenced an awareness campaign over the rising cost of exorbitant care that diabetic patients have had to go through. And if you look at it generally, diabetes, according to World Health Organization, is one of the challenges, especially people in advanced age are grappling with. The figures are really not too good. And for Nigeria, with already a deplorable healthcare sector, there's the tendency of the challenge being worsened. And as it is, the Diabetes Association of Nigeria did actually cry out that the cost of insulin is one of the nutrients that supplements the health of people living with a condition of diabetes. And you are some kind of special diet, and there are some daily supplements, one of which is the insulin you need to live on, that will sustain you basically. But generally, all that they are talking about, the diabetes being a death sentence, is not still far. But before now, the prices of some of the products, the supplements that people living with diabetes, the diabetics could access, were far cheaper. And now that the prices have gone above the rooftop, they are grappling. People are just dying. Diabetics are grappling with the challenge of even accessing the care for themselves. The supplements, the insulin, based on the records shown, getting it costs as high as 11,000 naira just per one, and the kits is about 65,000 naira. And sometimes the daily care that you need as a diabetic is really there. So imagine that you are a retiree. Imagine that at your old age you have no one to cater for you, and you are just depending on maybe your retirement benefits to take care of you. The special diet that people, diabetics, have had to go through. So it's a challenge. So it's really, but again, the health sector should be revamped in a way that people, because it's a condition that can be managed carefully. It's a condition that, being a diabetic, one can be managed sustainably.
Let's look at this. One thing again, maybe we have to advocate is the eating culture of the people. What do they eat, and how should they eat?
Human beings eat whatever is available in their environment and affordable.
But sometimes what is in the environment, they don't know how to eat it.
Okay.
I'll give you an instance. For the tea man, of course, you know that if he says a vegetable soup without meat, it doesn't make sense to him. So the stew and meat is...
What the tea man refers to as soup is actually the meat.
So
the other condiments are just supporting cast.
So you understand. So eating properly is another thing. But there are vegetable sorted at the backyard, but they may not think it's the best to eat at that moment.
Well, Mutawi, you are not far from it. Our eating culture is also a challenge. We need to educate ourselves better from youth. This is something that's a lifestyle disease that can be prevented or delayed, because some is hereditary. So the onset can be delayed, and then even if it sets on, one of the best medicines for diabetes is your diet. How you take care of your nutritional needs, exercise, and the rest of them. However, there are those who may not be able to escape, or those who are already in the pit. And these are the people that are saying it's a death sentence, because if food is expensive, you know, what diabetics eat is much more expensive, even when the economy is buoyant. Now that things are the way they are, it's practically impossible to feed a diabetic patient except the person is well to do, and I mean very, very well to do. The drugs have become something else. Insulin is now as expensive as anything that you can think about, and these are things that they are crying for government to, if at all you are going to give subsidy on this.
Okay, let's look at this same day. This day, just above the nameplate, you have Biden quits presidential race, endorses VP Harris Kamala, and that is something. When that story came up, many people are asking, can this happen in Africa?
I think it's part of the stronger institutions of democracies around the world, especially the U.S. model that we have been copying. The truth is, I must commend President Joe Biden for this legendary decision, because here is a man. It goes back to tell you what we say of the citizens' opinion in a democracy, because U.S. citizens, including Democrats in the Senate, that's the same party with him, President Biden, said, look, the age is no longer on your side. Why not give it to the opportunity to younger people? And he respected that decision. Later on, although he opposed it initially.
I'm still in the race.
Yeah, seeing the race, but he shocked the world to have announced his withdrawal from the U.S. presidency, which, of course, have totally redirected the entire presidential contest. And the report is that he has also endorsed his Vice President Kamala Harris to be the new nominee for the Democrats. And well, Trump had come out to say Harris will be more easier to defeat. So let's see how it pans out. The election is coming up in November. It's not too far away, but Biden must be really commended. He has set an example for not just Nigerians, the entire world leaders. We shouldn't stay on till the age is no longer. The truth is, as a leader, there is an extent to which even the age will allow you to perform. We have had in this country a president who admitted that age will limit my performance. Right. So
and he stayed on for 8 years.
At all. So I give it to Biden for accepting to finally step aside for whatever decisions that he said he will later speak to the world and the Americans in general to elaborate more.
We're copying democracy from the U.S.
Are we copying everything, though?
Should we copy this?
Well, we should copy everything that is good about democracy from those that mentored us. I think the Democrats were pushed to make this decision because when they saw the vice presidential nominee of Donald Trump, the alarm bells began to ring because J.D. Vance, a member of the U.S. Senate, is known as someone who is worse than Donald Trump in terms of his nationalist, white extremist ideologies. He subscribes to the fact that democracy and freedom do not go hand in hand. This is someone who is on record to have promoted the fact that the U.S. democracy should return into a strong dictatorial institution or become a monarchy. So the Democrats, when J.D. Vance was chosen, the Democrats approached Joe Biden and were like, look, our problem is no longer Trump. We know Trump is going to beat you in the election, but we were ready to manage Trump. But he's vice president. If Trump becomes president, he will do a lot of things, and J.D. Vance will become the president. And if J.D. Vance becomes president of the United States, our republic is over. That was when Joe Biden had to say, okay, for the sake of the future of the country, I step aside and I endorse Kamala Harris. As per Trump saying Kamala Harris will be easier to defeat. That is just Trump talking tough. I think this election is now swung back the other way.
Absolutely. It has totally redirected the race.
From what I've seen, she has secured a lot of donations,
endorsements, in just less than a week.
You know, Kamala Harris herself is a woman of many firsts in the American democracy, becoming the first ever female vice president of the country of
and guess
black
what?
origin.
Guess what? She's the one who encouraged Barack Obama to run for president. They were classmates in the university.
Yes, she herself is a prosecutor. So of course,
choose your friends wisely.
But one aspect of it, which we must not lose sight of it, is that the House Speaker had come out to even say Biden, by resigning to faith that he cannot continue as U.S. Democrat candidate for. He should even resign, that he's not fit to continue as president. But that's the power of the American institution. When they say what they want. Back here in Nigeria, an example of that, former Senate, one of the Senate persons, Alim Dume, was recently removed just on the basis of criticizing his party. But here in the U.S., the Democrats, some Democrats as Joe Biden, were calling on him to step aside, but there was no issues.
No consequences.
So for the sake of our democracy to grow as well, so maybe we should begin to point fingers to not just democracy, government of the people and all that, not the definition. Let's copy the reflection of it.
Absolutely.
The practice of it. If this happens in Nigeria today, or any other day, it will definitely be wonderful. As you said, the president in Nigeria once said,
age will limit his performance.
And he continued. Maybe he was...
and even sought to re-elect.
And in limited subsidy until it was gone.
Anyway, that's it. But let's go to News Direct. That will be the last we just take, and then we wrap up. And the Nigerian News Direct says no protest needed. I just want to take a reflection of that. We are tackling hardship, economic downturn. Tinubu appeals. I like it that Tinubu is appealing. He says, food inflation, we share your pain. Halved our salaries. We have halved our salaries. That is Reps Speaker. Okay, dialogue with protesters. I talked about it. Avoid confrontation. That is NLC President urges FG. Can Labour Students Union, others disown planned protests, back FG. I don't see this protest holding because there's so much of division. So, but I love the way Tinubu is appealing to Nigerians. Calm down. We are appealing. Of course, we have sent 740 trucks of rice.
0.1 kilograms of rice to Nigerians.
There is this statement in team language that says, with or without, whichever, I don't know. Kigabo or whichever. I don't know how to translate it. But
The better the less.
so at least something has been done.
Half bread is better than chin chin.
Pop off if you like.
Some people will
Is
say-
more elitist.
Some will even say that statement is not correct. Have good bread.
Okay, not just any
Not
bread.
just any other bread.
Okay.
Have good bread. Some could be a bad bread.
Mm-hmm.
But the president, I just want to draw the attention.
It's making an appeal.
Young men, gentlemen, Nigerians, calm down. Things are getting better. I've sent a lot of palliatives. I'm sending more. I'll still send more. So it will get to everybody.
Sir, because we are running out of time, I just want to make this point. I think the government should take the threats of protest very serious, because let's be completely honest with our leaders. For any one of them who is watching this, or it may be shared to various WhatsApp groups, for the love of God, do all you can to prevent even an infinitesimal attempt to protest in Nigeria now, because the cinders are too dry. The hardship is a trigger, and there are many elements of evil that are looking for an avenue to cause wahala. So please, just as you are appealing, Mr. President, governors and other leaders in various strata, do your best to manage us through this delicate process. Things will get better, but in the interim, people need to be appeased for now.
Okay, appeased. Maybe go to the gods and then appease. So what's your final take on this?
But yeah, Mr. President is appealing. Nigerians are also appealing that address the hardship, address the hunger. There's hunger in the land. The rep speaker have said they have halved their salaries. Would that be enough? It's not about cutting down your salaries. It's about making the policies that would directly have a bearing on the common man at the grassroots. Because even if you have your salary, they will not translate to you paying half of it into Musaf's account or mine or Chavia's. But if you make the policies that even the people at the grassroots will benefit, a move as simple as that, to a large extent, will address the hunger in the land, bring down the inflation, tackle the issue of insecurity so that our farming communities can thrive. So that at least, even if you are not paid salaries, you can eat from your farm.
Yeah. Okay. I think for me, I would just say there is just one solution to this. If you can tackle the issue of insecurity, then you have solved half of this problem. You won't the appeals won't be as much as you think. So if the IDPs go back to their communities and farms, they begin to farm, I bet you we won't have food shortage in this country and food crisis as well. So just address the issue of insecurity and Nigeria will come back. Okay, this is where we have to end the program for today. Thank you, gentlemen, Chavia and Nongo, for coming on the program. Next Thursday, again, we'll have another show. My name is Benjamin Gutab. I wish you the very best of the day.